February the 6th, 2024. Guys, you're looking at the NOAA wind speed map. It's on our website at bpearthwatch.com. It's in the column on the left. You'll see it, NULL. It does many things. It's an incredible model. You guys in California and along the West Coast, you're really catching it, and it's not over. It's your second Pineapple Express or atmospheric river, whatever you want to call it. And guys, you've broken records. You've had the most rain in one day ever recorded. You've got floods, landslides, a lot of people without power right now, and it's not over. This one is actually pumping more water on top of the saturated ground than the first one. And so you got to be careful with what's going on there. We talked about it as this storm was approaching. Now notice right here we are looking at surface level winds, and just to kind of show you what I was talking about, the Pineapple Express. Here's the Hawaiian Islands here, and you'd be saying, well, if it was the Pineapple Express, it would be coming from Hawaii, but this is just surface level. If we jump up in height, as we move up in height here, you'll see it start to change. 850, but when we get to 700, it starts to weaken. This is going up in height, getting close to the jet stream levels. And when we get to 500, you can see right there. And this is where the most powerful winds and a lot of the moisture is coming from. If we get to 250, we're continuing in height. And look, now this is where the jet stream really begins right here, and you can see now where it gets its name, Pineapple Express. And if you pull this back to California, what you're looking at is the wind directions, and you can pause that here, and this will give you the intensity areas. Notice it's dipping back down into the Gulf of Mexico, centering right along the Mississippi River. Florida, you're getting a little bit of break, but offshore, guys, there's a lot of low pressure spinning here with a lot of moisture involved in it. And if we go all the way to the top, again, let's pull this into California because that's who's catching, and the West Coast. You're getting snow, rain, mudslides, name it. Go up in height here. These numbers are in basically millimeters of pressure, and it's called hectopascals. The lower the number, the higher in altitude. When you get to 10 here, you're about 82 to 84,000 feet. You can see that push into Southern California is here. Now, most of the problems lie in this section between 500 to 250 of the jet stream, and that is intensified. Let's look at why it is like it is now. I'm going to pull this back. We're going to look at the Arctic vortex, our main global jet stream in the winter, right there. And we're going to go to 70, then 10. Now, let me back it out a little further. Notice when we were having all that cold weather, the jet stream had dived south and moved all the way down towards the Gulf of Mexico. Now it's very tight, and it's controlling most of the weather on this side of the globe. If you look at what a large area this is, all the way from Europe back over to Russia, crossing Canada. You've got Iceland and Greenland involved here. And also, even here, as this is pulled up, it's nothing being pushed down. What's that doing? That's allowing this Pineapple Express to flow freely. And guys, when it was pushed down further, South Florida was getting a lot of this moisture. Right now in central Mississippi, it is beautiful. Blue skies. We're going to get into the 60s, possibly 70s today. But we are looking at very upper level winds right now. Again, it's pulled back up to where it normally should be, and everything is getting mild, except it is allowing a lot of water, moisture, and wind. Let's go back down into Southern California. This is your main problems. You look at it here, it looks completely different, right? That's because we are not at around 80,000 feet. We're probably closer to 30,000 at this point. You begin to go back all the way, and you can see the Pineapple Express really can do what it wants to. Of course, it's all controlled by the pull right here. You see the tail on, or the Q right here on the vortex. that is what is actually pulling everything up into the Arctic. And California and the West Coast, you happen to be in that path right here. Now, the moisture could increase as the day goes on because it's 10 a.m. Central Time. I guess that would be 8 a.m. on the coast, West Coast, that is. And so you're not under full sun yet, and you can tell that by looking at your UV index on this particular map. Right here, UV right there. Let's take a look at it. And you can see where the sun is, and the Earth is, if you center this pink area of ultraviolet radiation, that is pointing directly at our star, the sun. But again, California, you're not into it yet. You know it's daylight, but because you're at an angle and it's early, you're not getting that full UV. But as the Earth rotates, and it's rotating this way, you will see that chance of rain increase simply because of the heat increasing over the clouds. And guys, just to point out before I change this model, we still have the same phenomenon that we've been looking at. I've heard people talk about the different possibilities, and you can see a definite interference. This is exactly at the true pole, or the true North Pole, not the magnetic pole, but the true physical pole, and that's this crossing of the lines here. Look at that. Still don't know what it is. I've heard some people say there's a mountain there. One comment was talking about a black pyramid, but from my information, that is, if it's true, is somewhere in central Alaska, not up this far north. But that is still here. Now, this is the power outage.us map. You can see California's catching it. When it's in the red, you're at 100,000 plus. They're saying 154,000. That's better than a couple of days ago because you were approaching 500,000 people just a few days ago. So they're getting some power back on. You can look at the different states. You can click on anything, and if it has to get to 10,000 outages before it goes from blue to yellow. See here, and you can see that you've got South Carolina, you've got some outages, Florida, Texas, Pennsylvania, but that's what it is indicating here. But if you click on California, it's going to give you the county level map and showing you where your greatest outages are. This is Mendocino County, just under 8,000 people. Then you come down to Sonoma County, 18,000, and you can go through here and check it out. 12,000 down in Monterey County. Here in Santa Cruz, you got 12,000 out. San Mateo County, 14,000. Santa Clara, you got 17,000. So it adds up very quickly. Again, 154,000 total out, or 150,000 total out in California. Maybe you'll get a break, but I saw a lot of images coming from storm chasers there in the local news of large trees on top of houses. And, of course, they're going to take out the power. And houses being underwashed on the sides of the hill from the mudslides and the boulders coming down. Just flooding everywhere you look, guys. We'll take a look at a little bit of the information, but you're not quite out of the woods yet. Now, this is 10:06 a.m. Central Time, current images. You can see the Pineapple Express very easily. Check this out, coming into Southern California and the Baja. Actually, the Baja is getting more of this now and coming into Arizona as far as this upper level cloud layer. But coming up into Nevada, going north from there, you're getting a lot of moisture too. A lot of flooding, but it should fill up the reservoirs and really help alleviate some of the drought conditions. But notice as the Pineapple Express comes up here, the drier air is killing the moisture. You see it pushing it offshore, and that's why Florida, you're getting a break. But it's starting to build back up out here somewhat. Check that out. But we've got beautiful clear skies right now in the south, and a good part of the southeast is in very good shape. Texas, you're about to get re-involved. New Mexico, and we got friends are shooting on the border, and I think they're in Yuma or I think Yuma or either Lukeville. You can check that out. You know the fellows that have been doing this, so they're there, and they're pointing out some problem spots. And this is where your rain is. Again, pretty much what we were seeing in the visible map was this section of the country is clear. And this is the low pressure system that's coming off the coast here, just kind of due west of Georgia and South Carolina. Don't know if this push is going to keep it offshore or not. If not, you may get some moisture along the northeast. But notice it is pulling a lot of wind from the north and northeast down along the coastline and down into Florida. And this is your water vapor loop. You could, again, off Florida, this is some intense moisture building right there. Notice that. And you can tell, again, that it's clear in the southeast. And California, you may be starting to see some break in the moisture because it's so intense here. But they're calling for to continue to watch for the flooding and the moisture coming in. You're still getting it. But, again, this main section, basically central Baja, and what is that, Sea of Cortez there, guys, coming right up through along the Rio Grande into Arizona, New Mexico, and getting up here into, what are we, Kansas here, guys, or Colorado, excuse me, and moving over towards Kansas. Now, this report came out at 9:21 a.m. this morning, and it's saying that the flood watch is for 38 million in California, and you're under a state of emergency. California battered by potentially historic storm, 38 million have flood alerts. It says, what if California had channeled this water to fill reservoirs instead of the ocean? Well, it's a little late for that, but guys, that's always been a problem. A lot of it draining out, and but also when you increase the population by millions, especially in that watershed area, which if you look over into Arizona, Lake Mead is involved. So the more farming, more expansion as far as subdivisions, cities, things like that, more businesses, that puts a lot of pressure on it too. But right now, maybe wiser heads will prevail, and they'll try to save as much as they can. Again, Oroville has been releasing water for maybe almost a week now, I think. It started in the middle of last week. Now, the state of emergency is for 8 counties in Southern California as a series of winter storms began impacting much of the state with high winds, damaging rain, and heavy snowfall. Now, I know I don't have to tell you guys in California what you're going through, but we're seeing some major weather changes. First time in history that hurricane force wind warnings were issued for San Francisco Bay Area. Largest amount of rain in one day. Things are changing. You're seeing weird things happening in the jet stream. It says the proclamation covers Los Angeles, Orange, Riverside, San Bernardino, San Diego, San Luis Obispo, Santa Barbara, and Ventura counties. The emergency proclamation includes provisions authorizing a California National Guard response if tasked, facilitating unemployment benefits for impacted residents, and making it easier for out-of-state contractors and utilities to repair storm damage. That's great, guys, because you're going to need it to get some of that power back on. You've got a lot of it back, but 150,000 don't have it. And again, there are areas that look like a hurricane did come through it with the amount of trees down on the cars and homes. And guys, there are images of big boulders on top of cars. The water has receded, and I think this was in Hollywood Hills area. But it took a lot of pressure just to get them on top of the cars. And a lot of damage has been done there. Again, homes, cars, roads are flooded, power's down. It says a severe storm system began moving through California Sunday and into Monday, making the start of what's expected to be a day's worth of heavy rain and snow. Some 38 million people are covered by flood alerts due to a weather system that the National Weather Service said could be potentially historic. Now, part of this article was yesterday, and they updated it on the top part, but if you look at it now, it's going back to yesterday. It says over 500,000 customers are without power in California as of Monday. It said mostly in the northern and central parts of the states, although Los Angeles is also reporting 4,000 powerless homes and businesses. Heavy rain led to mandatory evacuations for parts of Santa Barbara and Ventura counties on Sunday, and firefighters rescued 16 people from a single street in Los Angeles as mudslides caused havoc. I saw some raft rescues also. It says at least 2 people have died in tree fall incidents associated with severe weather. 9.94 inches of rain was recorded near the University of California. Remember, this is yesterday. It says 6.33 inches north of Culver City and 3.35 inches in Santa Barbara. A top wind gust of 138 miles per hour was clocked in Ward Peak near Lake Tahoe, 120-mile-per-hour gust in Upper Bull at Patterson Mountain, and a 94-mile-per-hour gust in Grapevine, California. Wettest day ever in Los Angeles. February the 4th, downtown L.A. had 4.10 inches of rain, exceeded daily record of 2.55 set in 1927. Think about that. Almost doubled it. Didn't quite make it, but almost doubled it. Third wettest day, going back to 1913. Think about that. And then it says, as floods recedes, many Californians could be returning to damaged homes that are not covered by your insurance. No one expected this, especially the damaging winds at the lower elevation. It says many victims of the massive storms now battering Southern California are about to be hit with another heartbreak, discovering their insurance won't cover the damage. That's good leadership. The typical homeowner's policy won't cover loss from flood damage that is covered by the National Flood Insurance Program, a part of the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA. But in California, where drought, not flooding, has been the most common problem until recently, homeowners are about as prepared for flood damage as the hurricane-prone Florida residents are for earthquakes. Everything's changing. A look at the numbers. Data from the NFIP show only 52,400 homes and businesses are covered by flood insurance in 8 Southern California counties declared a disaster we just read about. Only 52,000. That's less than 1% of the 7.7 million households in the affected 8 counties. 1%. So you're stacking the disaster on top of disaster. Already the banks are in trouble. You've got real estate markets in major trouble. The largest in China has collapsed, declared bankruptcy. You can't get loans from the banks right now. You just about have to pay cash for it. Anything you did buy, the prices are going down. But now, with all the problems we're seeing, 7.7 million households could not have any help at all. People are getting woke up. It's not that they're waking up, they're getting shaken awake worldwide right now. And I saw a portion, guys, before I end this, of the new bill, the spending bill that was proposed, and we're seeing more and more people turn against it because it was going to put like $60 billion more into Ukraine, I think it was, and maybe $20 billion into the southern border, they say, and allow over 1 million people a year to keep coming in, not through the normal system. So they're starting to wake up. They pulled a Pelosi, said, let's pass it and then read it, 340 or 50 pages, then we'll read it. Now, she got away with that one time. I'm not sure if they're going to get away with it again. But pass it and read it is the stupidest thing you could ever vote for. How many people were shocked at that, and how many people participated in D.C. in the swamp? They passed it. That was the last time. But they are, again, all the money's going overseas when we need the protection, we need the break in our taxes here. Just saying, guys, you know it. I don't have to rant about it. But we're watching it. You watch it. It's a heads up. Be safe.